Many of you have seen this picture already. You see that there's Meghan with her Cajuna hat.
Meghan Markle was introduced by Sarah Ferguson to Prince Harry. He said Miss Markle was a close companion to Prince Andrew.
Why did they protect Andrew? And it might be because Andrew could have fired back and said that he does, in fact, know Meghan.
Everything happened because of Fergie. There is absolutely zero doubt in my mind. Rachel Meghan Markle was a semi-expensive yacht girl, and she knows it.
Something felt off in the royal spotlight, and then suddenly everything snapped into chaos. One unexpected moment, one line said a little too casually, and the entire conversation around the monarchy flipped overnight. When Sarah Ferguson spoke up this time, it didn't land like harmless chatter. It hit like a shockwave.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke.
The kind that makes people stop, rewind, and ask, wait, did she really just say that? It all started in what looked like a normal setting. A calm exchange, a few reporters nearby, nothing out of the ordinary.
Meghan Markle was introduced through Marcus Anderson to Sarah Ferguson.
According to people, she got started her yachting days and she never stopped really. I don't think any of her boyfriends knew about it, but Meghan Markle was known as a hardcore yacht partying person, ready for anything.
But then came the line that changed everything. Meghan was Andrew's first client. Just like that, the mood shifted. The words didn't just hang there. They spread fast, hitting headlines, timelines, and group chats within minutes. Suddenly, Meghan Markle was at the center of one of the most talked about rumors yet, and people couldn't look away. Online reactions exploded almost instantly. The phrase Meghan's yacht days started trending, pulling in opinions from every direction.
She was a yacht girl. That's right. It's mentioned in the book. Meghan used to entertain as a yacht girl. Now, I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it happened. But I am saying Harry...
And we also have this. This is Karina Shuliak, girlfriend.
And the only times she traveled and went anywhere was with him. And guess who's on the other end with her Panama hat?
Some people brushed it off, others leaned in hard, trying to connect dots that may or may not even exist. But what really made this different? This wasn't coming from some random source hiding behind a screen. This came from Sarah Ferguson herself, a figure who has been through royal highs, public fallout, and surprising comebacks more times than most.
Fergie is preparing to go nuclear, to drop the bomb that for a long time she has resisted as she grifts for money from whoever is likely to give her a handout.
And here's where things get even more intense. Reports started suggesting that Prince Harry was completely caught off guard. Behind palace walls, the energy reportedly shifted fast. Quiet conversations, rising tension, and that familiar royal strategy kicking in. Say nothing, confirm nothing, let the storm pass. But this time, that silence didn't calm anything down. It made everything louder. So people started asking questions, and not small ones. What did first client even mean in this context? Why would that be said now, at this exact moment? And how does Prince Andrew, already surrounded by controversy, fit into this situation?
Jeffrey Epstein was also Harvey Weinstein, very prominent. There were members. Meghan Markle was just one of the working girls for Soho House. Call girl, working girl, escort, whatever you want to call it. That's what she was.
The connections being discussed weren't clear, but that didn't stop the speculation from spreading like wildfire. This isn't just another headline people scroll past and forget. The conversation started digging into deeper territory, brushing up against old royal controversies that many thought had already faded away. And now, with more voices jumping in, analyzing every angle, one big question keeps coming up again and again. Did Fergie slip up and say something she shouldn't have, or did she know exactly what she was doing when she said it? Because right after that moment, everything changed, and the calm royal routine completely gone. What started as a polished weekend filled with charity events and rehearsed smiles quickly turned into something way more unpredictable. But under all that polished royal energy, something else was clearly building up, and it wasn't small. Before the public even caught on, whispers were already moving through private circles. An unfiltered moment from Sarah Ferguson had quietly reached insiders first, and at the beginning, most people didn't take it seriously. After everything she had been through with headlines and scandals, people assumed she knew exactly where the line was. One wrong sentence could spark chaos, and she had seen that happen before. This time, though, it felt different and way more deliberate. At a private gathering in Mayfair, surrounded by high society names and a few sharp-eyed journalists, Fergie reportedly dropped a comment that instantly changed the mood. With a calm smile, she said, "People forget. Meghan's first royal connection wasn't Harry." Just like that, the room went quiet. Not the kind of silence that fades quickly, the kind that sticks, heavy and uncomfortable.
Why do you think Harry and Meghan are specifically so worried about what Fergie could blow the whistle on in regards to them?
But when it comes to Harry and Meghan, well, they haven't been particularly nice to anybody. They were cruel to the Queen. So any sort of mention of their cruelty and the behaviours that Meghan got up to and how she treated people when she joined the royal family, that could be a very unwelcome blow to them. But I mean, their reputation's down in the toilet as it is. I mean, I'm not sure how far Fergie would go. Perhaps Meghan and Andrew have crossed paths. I mean, it's something that I'm not sure will even come to light. I mean, it's highly suspicious given the circles that Andrew and Meghan have obviously floated in. You know, we have photographic evidence of Meghan hanging around with friends of, you know, who Andrew did.
Someone tried to laugh it off, thinking it was just a joke thrown into the conversation, but the reaction didn't match the words. The energy shifted fast, and people started realizing this wasn't casual talk. Within hours, those exact words started spreading everywhere. Messages lit up across private chats, moving from one person to another at speed. The phrase "Andrew's first client" began popping up in conversations, then quietly slipping into media drafts, and soon after, it hit social platforms hard. Suddenly, Prince Andrew was being pulled right back into the spotlight, and not in a good way. According to one insider, Prince Harry wasn't ready to accept it. Like many others, he had heard rumors before. Nothing new in royal circles. But this situation hit differently. It wasn't coming from outside noise or online speculation. It came from someone deeply connected to the family. That alone made people pause. What could have been ignored as random gossip quickly turned into something much bigger. By the end of the night, it was already being treated like a serious situation. Royal commentators started lining up timelines, trying to connect Meghan Markle's early career in Hollywood with high-profile events linked to Andrew's past. These weren't new topics, but now they were being revisited with fresh attention. Inside palace walls, the reaction stayed controlled, but tense. No direct responses, no clear statements, just that familiar no-comment approach. But instead of calming things down, it made the situation feel even more intense. Behind closed doors, one question kept building up, even if no one wanted to say it out loud. Was Sarah Ferguson revealing something that had been kept quiet for years? Or was this something more personal, maybe even a calculated move? Either way, people started to feel like this was just the beginning.
I know what you're going to say. Maybe it was just that one trip. No, there were quite a few trips. There's actually quite a lot of pictures about them. There are 2 pictures that leaked.
Could be also happening that the royal family saying, hey, if you put a book out about Meghan Markle and completely destroy everything and really tell the people how Meghan met him.
She'd been a deal or no deal girl. She was calling herself a model, and she was starring in a show Suits. She used to charge almost $30,000 per trip, which is why she was making good money. It wasn't on Suits. It was on her yacht.
Long before royal titles, global interviews, and life in Montecito, Meghan Markle was navigating a completely different world. Hollywood wasn't easy, and she knew it. Between smaller roles, industry events, and constant networking, she built her image step by step. Always focused, always aware, always moving forward with purpose. But behind that clean, polished image, there was something way more intense driving everything forward. Meghan Markle wasn't just trying to fit into Hollywood, she was pushing hard to rise above it. In a city where thousands of hopefuls fade into the background, she stood out by being sharp, focused, and always one step ahead. People who knew her early on remember how she could walk into a room full of producers and leave with everyone remembering her name. That kind of presence doesn't happen by accident. She knew how to move through different circles with ease. One minute she's networking with business figures, the next she's at events filled with celebrities and high-profile guests. And somewhere in that mix were individuals connected to elite social scenes that overlapped with royal-adjacent spaces. These weren't random parties. They were carefully curated environments where introductions mattered and every conversation could open a new door. Some of those settings included exclusive yacht gatherings, not just flashy getaways, but high-level social hubs where connections were built fast, deals were discussed, alliances formed, and reputations shaped in real time. Now, these weren't exactly how tabloids dramatized them, but they weren't completely harmless either. There was always that layer of quiet expectation where favors and connections carried weight. There have been rumors floating around suggesting that Meghan Markle may have attended some of these events while building her career. Nothing confirmed, nothing solid, just scattered claims.
Prince Andrew, have you noticed how he completely avoids looking at Meghan Markle when she's around him or when she was?
And here we have Andrew, with whom looks like Marcus Anderson. This is in 2001 when Meghan Markle would have allegedly been on third year. Meghan Markle hardly spent any time at Northwestern University.
Resurfaced images and unnamed voices adding pieces to a story that never fully comes together. But here's the thing. That uncertainty is exactly what gave Sarah Ferguson's comments so much impact. It filled in gaps that people were already curious about. By saying what she said, Fergie didn't just repeat a rumor, she reshaped how people started looking at Meghan's past. Suddenly, old moments were being re-examined through a completely different lens. For media outlets, this kind of narrative was impossible to ignore. An actress rising through Hollywood, later joining the royal family, now being loosely linked to one of its most controversial figures. That combination alone was enough to keep the story alive, and whether any of it is accurate or not almost becomes secondary. Because in royal circles, perception can hit harder than facts. Once a certain idea enters the public conversation, it doesn't just disappear. It evolves, spreads, and pulls in more attention. And Sarah Ferguson understands that better than most. She's been in the spotlight long enough to know exactly how narratives take shape and how quickly they can shift. To really understand why her words landed so heavily, you also have to look at Prince Andrew himself. Once seen as a confident royal figure, his image has taken a serious hit over time. For years, he moved through elite circles with total access, luxury trips, private gatherings, and high-end social events across places like the Mediterranean. It was a lifestyle built on status and influence, but that image didn't hold forever.
Meghan was friends and going on holidays with his girlfriend. There's no way that you can't tell me Meghan wouldn't have got an invite through some of her friends to attend the big lavish parties that was known for throwing, with lots of girls, some professional, some not, some models, some D-list cable TV actresses desperate for...
Meghan Markle is no different than Sarah Ferguson. Both women can be definitely guilty of soulish cash grabs.
That's exactly why bringing Meghan Markle into that same conversation hit so hard. This wasn't just some random comment. It felt like a serious claim that connected two already debated figures into one storyline. Meghan has always had mixed reactions from the public, but linking her name to Andrew's past took things to another level entirely. Even the suggestion that their paths might have crossed at some point before her relationship with Prince Harry gave media outlets plenty to work with. It didn't take long for speculation to grow. For the royal institution, this kind of narrative is exactly the situation they try to avoid. Two controversial storylines suddenly merging into one. That's not something that fades quietly. While Andrew remained out of sight, avoiding public attention, the impact of Fergie's words kept spreading. His name, already surrounded by heavy discussion, suddenly became tied to Meghan's carefully built image. And once that connection entered the conversation, it became almost impossible to ignore. Because whenever Andrew's name shows up, people don't just scroll past, they stop. and look closer. When Sarah Ferguson speaks, people usually listen out of curiosity. But this time, it landed completely differently. What was supposed to be a low-key, off-record moment at a private London event quickly turned into something much bigger. According to reports, Fergie leaned in with that familiar playful expression and said, "Let's just say, Meghan was Andrew's first client." The tone may have sounded light, but the reaction wasn't. The room reportedly froze. Conversations paused and the atmosphere shifted instantly. Those few words carried weight and everyone there could feel it. Within hours, the comment made its way out, and by the next morning, journalists were already breaking it down piece by piece. People started debating what she actually meant. Was client just a sarcastic remark about networking and social climbing? Or was she hinting at something more serious tied to Andrew's past connections? The lack of clarity didn't calm anything down. It made everything more intense.
But relating to Andrew, she wants to stay as far away from this as possible because, like you said, she was named as a potential witness by David Boies, who was Virginia Giuffre's lawyer. The statement that David Boies put out was incredibly interesting. Nothing you see from a lawyer at this level is by accident. And he almost, I would say, alluded to the fact that Meghan may have known Andrew before she met Harry, or that's certainly how I read it.
And Fergie, she didn't clear it up. She didn't fully confirm or deny anything either. Instead, she leaned into that familiar style, half playful, half distant. When asked about it, she responded with small smiles and vague reactions. The kind that keeps people guessing, keeps the conversation alive, and leaves everyone wondering what was really meant. Inside the palace, the reaction was anything but calm. Reports suggest teams were scrambling behind the scenes, trying to create distance between senior royals and the fallout. The mood, tense, sharp, and full of urgency. There were whispers that Sarah Ferguson had gone off script again, but this time it didn't feel accidental. Because behind all the frustration, one thing kept lingering. Maybe she knew exactly what she was doing all along. Fergie's history kind of supports that idea. Her public life has always balanced, right on the edge between honesty and chaos. She said things before that made headlines, stepped into controversy, then somehow found her way back into the spotlight again. This moment, it didn't feel like a mistake, it felt like a move. A carefully timed spark that set off a chain reaction. By linking Meghan Markle to Prince Andrew's already complicated reputation, Fergie didn't just bring up old rumors. She shifted the entire conversation. Suddenly, Meghan's silence started looking different to people. Prince Harry's reported frustration? That started making more sense in the public eye. And instead of answers, all anyone got was nothing. No response, no clarification, just more space for speculation to grow.
This woman knows that she's in trouble with Fergie because she knows where Meghan Markle's bodies are buried. She knows that Meghan Markle has been yachting. In fact, they had friction because Meghan had originally set her sights on Prince Andrew, but she lucked out with the idiot Harry. Not in a million years did Meghan think that she was going to score Prince Harry. She thought she was going to score Andrew until Fergie put a stop to it.
Then came the big question everyone started asking, why now? Because in royal circles, timing is never random. Every statement, every appearance, every slip carries some kind of motive. And when it comes to Sarah Ferguson, there's always a deeper layer to consider. To understand it, you have to look at her history with the monarchy. It hasn't been smooth. It's been a mix of public setbacks, quiet returns, and constant reinvention. She's been pushed out before, faced intense media attention, and still managed to find her way back into relevance. That kind of experience changes how someone plays the game. Fergie has never been far from controversy. From those headline-making moments in the past to financial struggles and public apologies, she's seen every side of royal life. The highs, the lows, and everything in between. And each time she came back with a smile, but also with more awareness of how the system works. So bringing Meghan into this now, that raised eyebrows for a reason? Some insiders believe it could be subtle payback. A quiet response to years of feeling like an outsider, especially when the same institution later welcomed Meghan into the spotlight. Others think it's about control. Fergie stepping back into the narrative and reminding everyone she still has a voice. And then there's another angle people can't ignore. Maybe she's just playing the media game at a high level, stirring just enough attention to pull focus back her way. Because if there's one thing Sarah Ferguson understands better than most, it's how to turn a single moment into a headline that no one can ignore. There's also another angle people started talking about, and it flips the whole situation in a different direction. Some believe Sarah Ferguson might have thought she was actually helping Prince Andrew.
Making headlines, I just thought I would drop these screenshots of Meghan Markle enjoying the yacht scene with Karina and a host of other ladies. And your understanding is that these pictures are genuine. And if you look there, it's people like Misha Nunu, so some other close friends of Meghan Markle in the picture, Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely.
By shifting attention toward Meghan Markle, maybe the goal was to pull heat away from Andrew's name and redirect the spotlight somewhere else. If that was the plan, it was risky, and it definitely didn't go unnoticed. No matter the reason, one thing stands out clearly. Fergie understands timing better than most people in that world. She spent years dealing with public backlash, rebuilding her image, and figuring out exactly how much to say and when to say it. That kind of experience doesn't just disappear. It turns into strategy. Giving just enough to spark attention while still holding something back, that's been her pattern for years. And this moment, it might be one of her boldest moves yet. In a single sentence, she managed to pull global attention back to herself, reopen conversations the royal family would rather keep buried, and place her name right back into major headlines. Whether this was a smart strategy or a move driven by pressure, it worked. Because once again, Sarah Ferguson became the center of attention. But the real question people kept asking was simple: what did she expect to gain from all this? Because moves like this don't come without consequences. The very next morning, everything shifted inside palace walls. No official statements, no press briefings, just silence. But behind that silence, things were moving fast. Advisors rushed between meetings, phones kept ringing, and conversations turned urgent. Everyone was trying to figure out how to manage a situation that was already spreading too far to fully control. Every part of the royal family suddenly felt the pressure. And no one wanted to be the first to respond and make things worse. According to reports, Prince Harry was deeply frustrated, but also cautious. The Yabri own situation had put him in a difficult position where react too strongly and it fuels the story. Say nothing, and the silence speaks for itself. At the same time, Meghan Markle reportedly stepped back from public view. Appearances were delayed, cameras avoided, and her team focused on handling things behind the scenes. There were talks of possible responses, but nothing immediate. And outside of that inner circle, critics were already reacting loudly online. What made it even more intense was where the comment came from. This wasn't a random voice, it was someone connected directly to the family. That added a whole different level of tension. Meanwhile, senior royals kept their distance publicly, staying neutral while closely watching everything unfold. Behind closed doors, the focus shifted to damage control. Efforts were made to redirect attention back to official duties and charitable work, but it wasn't working easily. That phrase, Andrew's first client, just wouldn't fade. It stayed in headlines, in conversations, everywhere.
In my opinion, in my analysis, and my experience of decades, this kind of analysis for me is the real deal. If a photo such as this of Meghan Markle with Prince Andrew years ago surfaces, that will be quite an scandal.
And inside those private royal spaces, frustration started building. Some believed Sarah Ferguson had crossed a line. Others quietly wondered if there was more going on behind the scenes. But one feeling connected everyone involved: uncertainty. That tension inside the royal circle wasn't just about headlines, it was about fear. Real fear that another major controversy, this time tied to Meghan Markle, could reopen everything connected to Prince Andrew's past. The monarchy has always relied on structure, control, and careful messaging, but now that control was starting to slip and people could feel it. By early morning, the atmosphere behind palace walls had completely shifted. What looked calm on the outside was anything but calm inside. Advisors rushed into meetings carrying documents marked urgent, faces serious, voices low. Everything was moving fast, but also carefully, because one wrong move could make the situation even worse. The royal family's long-standing approach, stay quiet, avoid reacting, suddenly didn't feel as strong as it once did. Sarah Ferguson's comment had already spread too far. It wasn't just a passing story anymore, it was everywhere. And now the reputation of the entire institution was being pulled back into intense public discussion. Inside private offices, strategies were being built step by step. Responses were drafted but kept vague. Senior royals debated what to do next. Should they distance themselves publicly or stay silent and hope the story fades? But the issue wasn't just about appearances anymore. It was about trust. Because this didn't come from an outsider looking in. It came from someone within the royal circle. That's what made it hit harder. That's what made people uneasy. According to sources, Prince Harry was deeply unsettled. Not just frustrated, but unsure how to respond. Should he address it directly or leave it to legal teams behind the scenes? Either option carried risk. At the same time, Meghan Markle remained out of sight. And that silence? It didn't quiet anything down. It made the situation louder. People started reading into every move, every absence, every delay. The speculation only grew stronger. Even palace staff reportedly felt the pressure. Conversations became shorter, more careful. Doors closed quickly, voices dropped, and every interaction felt controlled. Because now anything could become the next headline.
I believe that Andrew and Meghan have crossed paths.
Attempts were made to shift attention back to royal duties, charity work, official events, public appearances. But the public wasn't moving on that easily. The story had taken on a life of its own. Every appearance carried an unspoken weight. Every smile felt more rehearsed than usual. And through all of it, the royal family seemed to be holding its breath, hoping this would pass like past controversies. But something about this felt different. Because this time, the pressure wasn't coming from outside voices, it was coming from within. As things slowly begin to settle, if they even fully do, one thing stands out. This moment has already left a mark. What started as a single remark from Sarah Ferguson has turned into something much bigger, a situation touching loyalty, image, and influence all at once. And whether answers come or not, the impact of this story isn't fading anytime soon. And just like that, the silence around Meghan Markle keeps getting louder. It hangs over everything like a storm that hasn't fully hit yet. Meanwhile, Prince Harry is said to be dealing with a situation that's clearly shaken his trust. And the royal institution? Once again, it's facing shadows from the past that many thought were already handled. Because here's the pattern people are starting to notice. Every time the monarchy tries to lock things down and control the narrative, something unexpected slips out. Another detail, another comment, another moment that pulls everything back into question. So now, the focus isn't just on whether Sarah Ferguson went too far, it's on what else could still be sitting beneath the surface. Think about it. If that's what was said openly, what kind of conversations are happening behind closed doors? That's the part that keeps people watching, analyzing, and waiting for the next piece to drop. Because in this world, nothing stays hidden forever. And trust me, this story connects deeper than it looks. In the previous video, the spotlight shifted onto King Charles III, Prince Andrew, and Fergie in a moment that caught everyone off guard. Decisions were made, reactions followed, and the ripple effect, bigger than expected. If you haven't seen that yet, you're going to want to check it out next because it adds a whole new layer to everything happening right now. If you made it this far, hit that like button, share this with someone who's been following the drama, and don't forget to subscribe for more. Tap into the next video on your screen for even more celebrity stories that keep getting wilder. See you in the next one.